Welcome to City Talk, where we try to figure out what goes on around here all day. When I say around here, I mean the city county building and other facilities run by the city of Pittsburgh. Say hello to the director of Parks and Rec, who joins us, as you can see via Zoom, Ross Chapman. Ross, welcome to the program.
Thanks, John. Nice to be here. Hello, Pittsburgh.
So how long have you been director of Parks and Rec?
I think it's been about 4 years now, John. Interestingly enough, it's probably almost exactly 4 years since Mayor Peduto, the administration, asked me to kind of move down from another department and come into Parks and Rec and help out. So it's about almost exactly 4 years now.
I worked for the Department of Innovation and Performance, but I did work for Parks and Rec, and I was wondering, was the single biggest, most momentous, fantastic, genius decision you ever made to take me off the street and hire me? Or was there something more?
That was one of the most significant decisions I ever made in my entire life, John. Yes, it was.
Okay, and then the decision to get rid of me a year later was even smarter, probably.
Oh, no. I thought we wanted to use your skills kind of more appropriately as best designed for you. So thus you're interviewing me, and it makes perfect sense that you're doing that role and I'm doing whatever it is that I do.
It all comes full circle. Well, since you brought that up, what is it that you do?
Oh, good question, John. That's a tricky one, kind of in a way, as it relates to public perception. I mean, parks and recreation. So the first thing you think of is that we would manage park shelters and open space, green space. We might take care of trash cans and litter and all the rest. We don't do that. That falls under the Department of Public Works. They're kind of the park maintenance individuals. They look after the physical assets, the facilities, the parks, the swimming pools. Our department, my department, Parks and Recreation, also known as City Parks. A lot of people know Parks and Rec as City Parks. I think it's been kind of co-named since maybe the 70s. It's had that other kind of moniker. We are people in programs, and the mayor likes to say that we do things that are involve people in programs. So in a normal kind of non-COVID summer, which we almost had this year, typically peak season summer, we have people in about 50, 55 facilities. Those are swimming pools and spray parks and senior centers and recreation centers and food programs and what have you. So we administer programs for seniors, kids, youth, meal programs, recreation, education. We have a new kind of rec to tech technology program. Wonderful coordinator, Max Dennison, kind of operates and manages that program. So we do a lot of stuff, but it's all interfacing directly with the public and providing services and support and programs and activities.
That was a real shame that the senior centers had to shut down for all that time, because, you know, a lot of people sort of consider the people at their particular center their family. Are people making it back in, or because of the variant, do you have to wait still, or?
Well, we had to kind of follow the guidance from the state, of course, well, the CDC, and that comes down through the kind of Department of Aging at the state level and through the Allegheny County Area Agency on Aging. They're one of the funders that supports our senior program. So we opened our 4 focal point senior centers: Southside Market House, the Homewood Senior Center, Sheridan Senior Center, and the Greenfield Healthy Active Living Senior Center. We opened those up about a month ago. This past Monday, a week from today, on August 2nd, we opened up all but 2 others. The Northview Heights Senior Center and our Morningside Senior Center aren't yet opened. We've had some attrition with staffing during COVID, so we're trying to staff up, put things back in place. We're not opened at full capacity at any of our facilities, really, with the exception of the 8 swimming pools, outdoor swimming pools, that we were able to open and operate this year. So we're still doing grab and go meals for seniors. That means that they come in, there's no congregate meal activity, but we do have some kind of in-person programming that's going on. This Delta variant is throwing us all for a loop. Things are changing really quickly. So who knows what that means for, next week and beyond.
Yeah, at the beginning of the day, I thought we'd be meeting in person, and here we are Zooming. Right. How have you continued to cope with COVID personally?
It's been interesting, John, and it's interesting when you're sitting across a dining room table from your spouse, your partner, and your daughter in first grade sitting across from you too, and everybody's on a laptop, and you do that for, I don't know, 14 months or whatever it was. I don't know. So, as the vaccine became available and people started to go out, at least in our county, and started to get vaccinated, you could see the numbers drop. This variant's thrown us all for a loop, but it's been challenging. There's been, back to our senior centers, there are some centers that we've lost a couple dozen members due to COVID. So we had vaccination campaigns. Once the vaccine became available, we were working closely with the county and other health providers. to get people vaccinated, but it's been sad times for a lot of people, and it's been very trying times. So now that seniors and kids are kind of back for some in-person programming with some limitations on capacity, people are, they're just enthralled to be back, but we have to be very careful. So we're not really ready to open up the doors kind of full swing for everyone just to come back in. It's just too soon. If you look at the data from even a month ago, respective to transmission cases versus where we're at today, it looks very different, right? So hopefully, we can get back into the school year with everything being in person, universities coming back online. It's going to be interesting, I think, this next month. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that, we can get through the next couple of months okay and ease into winter without any severe spike. But we'll see.
Yeah, that would be nice if it plays out that way. Because I know the mayor was speaking publicly the other day that if we don't get better soon, it could go from bad to worse in October. So I guess we'll all see. So how did you become interested in working in government and working in Parks and Rec?
So I kind of came through, there was a transition thing just for a few months before I ended up at the city here. Been about 11 years now in the city of Pittsburgh. I was hired as a supervisor in another kind of a trust fund program area, which deals with workforce development for city residents, not really for city personnel. It's under HR. It's the Pittsburgh Partnership. It's the Summer Youth Employment Program, the Learn and Earn Program, neighborhood employment centers, and programs for people that are on public assistance. So I did that for 6 or 7 years. I was promoted to assistant director. Having always worked in kind of a nonprofit sector, having worked kind of the position before this was in Carnegie Mellon Software Engineering Institute. It's kind of a private public sector kind of. It's not the same as municipal government. Working for a nonprofit, the children's museums, those are wonderful jobs. They're kind of a little bit more, they're very people-focused jobs, right? So this appealed to me because it was very outwardly facing. It was in direct support of residents, and what I'm doing now in my role in Parks and Rec is that. It's just, that's the foundation of all that I do, is to support the internal operations in my team, but it's all in support of city residents and services for them. So it seems like it's what I've always done in some way, shape, or form, having only worked for a private organization for once or twice in my life. So it's been a natural fit. It's been a good fit.
Did any of the federal money that was granted to cities in the not too distant past make its way to Parks and Rec?
Well, we're hoping to see some of the American Rescue Plan monies impact some of our kind of deferred maintenance and some of the facilities improvement work. We were kind of in this arena where we could get some of our staff people that were working kind of on the front lines, delivering meals to seniors, kind of an incentive pay, very small and only for a couple of months, but that helped. It kind of gave a nod to the work that they were doing, because quite honestly, I think it was March 13th, I could be wrong, of 2020, when the stay home order came in. It might have been the following Monday, technically the 16th, but by that Thursday, the 19th, if that was the 19th, we had meal programs in place for seniors and kids. Since the start of the pandemic, roughly March 16th of 2020, we might have given over 750,000 meals, maybe more than that now, to seniors and kids. So we're going to continue this grab and go meal thing for seniors. We're going to probably do the same for children, and we're probably going to hit the 1 million mark for meal distribution during the COVID period. So I don't remember what your question was specifically, John, but we've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of things in any way that we can to support area residents, but it's been challenging because there's been no real face-to-face interaction. But the foundation of what we do, and it's something I think I already mentioned this, is that the mayor points out, is like, Ross, I don't want you to worry about brick and mortar stuff. I don't want you to worry about grass. I do have to worry about that stuff. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, but I do. I want you to focus on people and programs, and that's what we do. So I work for my team. I work for the people that work for us, and it's just to give them, hopefully, some of the tools and resources that they need so they can provide good services and support for residents.
Sounds like you really like your job. Would you recommend a career in government for folks just getting out of school?
Yeah, I absolutely. Oh, there's no doubt about it. we're actively recruiting. As I mentioned, we had some attrition during COVID, just natural things. I'm trying to elevate the conversation just around pay scales and those kinds of things. It's everyone's focus, right? Nationally, everyone knows that in order to attract and retain qualified individuals and give people a decent living wage, you got to pay them a decent living wage for them to have a decent living, right? So I think that the rewards in working within kind of municipal government, at least respective to what I do and the people that I've been fortunate enough to work with, Mayor Pedito on kind of down, so to speak, is I have a really good sense of family here. There's like a really good community of people that work really hard, and I don't think that's always transparent. I don't think people always look at government, civil servants as hardworking individuals. I'm sure a lot do, but there's a lot of hardworking people here. I put myself in that arena. It's rewarding, it's fulfilling. You feel like there's some tangible benefit for it. And if I talk to most of the people that I work with, my colleagues, my peers, they all feel the same way. And some of the staff people that I work with have been doing it for decades. They've been here for a long time doing this kind of work because it's so meaningful to them. So I would definitely consider this maybe before some of those for-profit entities. I think it's rewarding in a different way.
Awesome. Well, I know you're busy, and I told you I'd keep it short and sweet, so we'll leave it at that.
John, it's a pleasure to talk to you again. Pleasure to see you. Hope to see you in person soon. Take good care.
Exactly, in person. That's the goal. Thanks so much for joining. So we'll see you sooner or later.
Sounds good.
When we come back, we'll meet somebody from special events. So stay with us. Welcome back to City Talk. Let's head over to the Office of Special Events and say hello to Brandon Dialamonte. Did I pronounce that name correctly, Brandon?
Yeah, that was pretty good. So,
what do most people say?
Usually Del Monte, like the pineapples. So
that's pretty annoying. Dialamonte is much more, regal and groovy sounding than Del Monte, which sounds like
thanks. I'm used to it at this point. So as long as it's close, I just go with it.
Okay, good. So you're in the Office of Special Events. I bet a lot of people aren't even aware of the myriad of events that the city puts on. Tell us about, some of the stuff you're involved in.
Yeah, that's true. So some of our bigger programs include the Cinema in the Parks, which we do pretty much 6 nights a week throughout the summer months, sometimes 7 nights a week, depending on the location. And also our Farmers Market program, which starts in May and ends in November. Those are probably 2 of the bigger ones. The biggest, the biggest day of events that we do would be like our Great Race event, which takes place the last weekend in September over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, including the Great Race Expo that we have at the David Lords Convention Center. And yeah, a myriad of other things. So we have a Pistons in the Park car cruise coming up. We have several 5Ks, including the Historic Hill, as well as Run Around the Square coming up. And we're even still doing some things virtually, like our Brookline Breeze. So we've had a pretty full roster this summer, despite getting a late start. So,
is the car cruise, does that involve people with older, cool cars sort of gathering in one place, and then everybody can look at one another's equipment?
Yeah, it's open to everybody and all makes and models. So yeah, we try to keep it as inclusive as possible as far as that goes.
How did you become interested in special events and doing everything that is necessary to put them on?
Well, my background is in marketing. I went to IUP, graduated with a degree in marketing. I worked in TV for a little bit, and I worked in radio. And it was really in radio where I kind of got into setting up remote broadcasts, and that was really my first introduction to events, if you will, as small as that is compared to what I do now. But doing that kind of audio work got me started part-time with the Office of Special Events, doing their audio visual for the mayor's press conferences, as well as the movies in the park, different bands in the park. And yeah, so I was able to start part-time back in 2017 and did that for about 6 months and ended up being offered a full-time position as a program coordinator in 2018. And here I am.
And if I remember correctly, you're originally from Johnstown, but your first media job when you were in broadcasting was in Hawaii, of all places.
Well, when I started in TV, it was for Fox affiliate in Johnstown.
Okay.
And then I did accept a position in Honolulu for a group of radio stations based on Oahu, and they also had stations on Maui and Kauai as well. So yeah, that was a very interesting time for sure.
And I asked you how you got that job in Hawaii, and you said you applied. So apparently there's not that much talent on the island, and not everybody wants to move to Hawaii, even though it sounds ideal. Yeah,
it was interesting what they were doing during the pandemic, actually offering people, to come work there remotely, because there is a lack of talent, I would say, on the island. A lot of people go there, they get their degree from the University of Hawaii, which is a big university, and then they go back home. So they don't have a lot of people there with college degrees and doing the marketing that I was doing for the radio stations, which ended up becoming a lot of remote stuff as well. Yeah, they were definitely starving for talent in that area. And I interned in New York City when I was in college, and I applied to jobs there. I applied to jobs even out here in Pittsburgh. Was a lot more competitive to find a position than it was in Hawaii. And like you said, it's exactly what it was. I applied and they called, and it seemed like a opportunity I couldn't pass up.
So what was life like in Hawaii? I'm very envious. I was there once for a week. I can't imagine.
Expensive. Okay. But I mean, it was great. I didn't have a car, so I took public transportation everywhere. But even, the beach was only a 30-minute walk away. And you can drive around the whole island of Oahu in about 2 hours. So you could really get anywhere by bus in a pretty short amount of time. So it was a lot of fun. Very different compared to anything else I've ever done, even including when I lived in New York City, which also very expensive. But yeah, that was quite an experience.
You ever visit Maui?
I've been to Maui, yes.
And it is as beautiful as one imagines.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can really go wrong with any of the islands. Some of them are more commercialized than others. Maui is a much more laid back and really the paradise. I think what people think of when they think of Hawaii, it's most likely Maui.
And finally, did you eat ham and pineapple pizza?
Yeah, I eat that. I still eat that here. So
me too. I've tried it for Hawaii, and I still eat it here. As you know, it can be very controversial. Some people believe pineapple is not.
It's so true. I'm a believer. I support it.
You and I know that pineapple does indeed belong on pizza.
You know what? Pineapple and jalapeno. That's actually a secret. Not a lot of people know. So what did you do during COVID? You sort of canceled a lot of events and planned ones for when you thought we'd be out of COVID? Yeah, unfortunately, we did have to cancel a lot of events, which, everybody did. It was no different here.
Right.
We were able to keep our farmers markets going. So we ended up working 2 days a week from home. And then with three or 4 days a week, we were in the parks, East Liberty, Carrick, North Side, and our Squirrel Hill Market. 4 days a week, we were out doing those. And it's a completely different mode of operations for us as far as the safety aspect of it and the loadouts we had to do and all the precautions we had to take setting up. And it was something I had never been involved with our farmers markets. We have a coordinator that's assigned to those specifically. And I know more about farmers markets now than I've ever wanted to in my entire life. But it was nice that we were able to still do, bring some events to the city, including we did a lot of virtual stuff as well. Something people may have been familiar with. But
when you say you know a lot about it, like how to get a hold of the farmers and who's going to bring what, and
yeah, when corn comes in at a different time of year than the rest of your fruits and vegetables. Even vegetables come in before fruits do. So the different times of year, people want to know, well, why isn't this here and why is that here? And it's, so I know more about that stuff now than I ever thought I would. So
was attendance down during COVID, or were people so anxious to go somewhere and do something that it didn't affect it?
I think at first people were precautious, they weren't really sure. And once they came out and saw how we were handling it, and it really was a safe environment for people, the way that we set it up, people came out in droves, and those were very well attended throughout the summer. So
if you wanted to, do you think this qualifies you for a to be an event planner?
That's basically what we are.
Right.
So, yeah. So, I mean, the pandemic really changed the way we did things. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of good experience, even getting it more into the virtual side of things. And like I said, with the safety and regulations that were coming out, and we were able to adapt. And shout out to Emily Bourne, who was actually our farmers market coordinator, who did a lot of the heavy lifting for the program. So she really made it work well. So.
And I know you were able to bring back, at least for a few occasions, Bach, Beethoven, and Brunch, where everybody from a local band to the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra entertains people on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, that event is great. We've had record turnouts at most of our events this summer. I think people were ready to get out and do something. And yeah, that Bach, Beethoven, and Brunch, we just did the last one on yesterday morning, I guess it was. So that's over for the year. But our Reservoir of Jazz concert series in Highland Park, you can catch that every Sunday through August from 5 to 7 p.m. That one has had record. That one's had record turnouts as well. What? That's in Highland Park, right by the reservoir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. But that's a lot of, I know, because I used to MC some of the Bach, Beethoven, and Brunch, those kind of huge things, and I'm sure the jazz concert as well. There's a lot of work involved in setting up booths and chairs and people to tell people where to go and people who have questions.
Yeah, not a lot of people realize that either. You know, we work in the office 8 to 5, 5 days a week. And then we're out in the parks, you know, on nights and weekends, whether it's a movie, whether it's setting up the bands. We obviously, like, our department handles the sound setup as well for a lot of the bands. So yeah, there's definitely a lot that goes into it. And a lot of people just see the finished product and not the behind the scenes stuff. But there is a lot that definitely goes into it. So
it sounds like you like your job.
Yeah, this is something I never thought I'd be doing. I applied for a part-time position here and ended up in a role I never thought I'd be in. It's really the perfect blend too of my experience and my interests. I love partnering with local businesses to put on different events, whether that's through sponsorship or in-kind gifts to help promote and to bring different things to different parts of the city. It's just, I love it. It's fantastic. So.
And would you recommend a career in government service?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have a passion for the public sector, I guess, and serving your community. It's not for everybody, but coming from the private sector and the kind of soul-sucking work you can end up in doing there, this is a little more rewarding for me. So I definitely enjoy it.
So you did manage to retain a portion of your soul and it wasn't completely sucked out.
That's yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Awesome. Somebody should invent a device to prevent your soul from being sucked. I don't know if that's possible. All right, Brandon D'Alamonte, thank you so much for joining us on City Talk. Great talking to you and much continued success in your work.
All right, thanks so much.
That is this edition of City Talk. We will see you next time.